All right, good morning traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and it'll be live real-time analysis here, forward-looking, not hindsight. And the concept is very simple. We have an educational course on order flow. It's free, and the concept is very simple. And this is the follow-up to that course to put it to the test in real time. So you can follow along. We will read the order flow, and then we'll give insight to where we think price may go next due to the objective reading of the order flow. If we do a good job objectively reading the order flow, more likely than not, the move will go in that direction. This is what we're here for, is to support you with the understanding order flow and also Bookmap at the same time. We do this Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And then we have real-time analysis also with StoxTrader, JTrader on Wednesday, and then Scott Pulcini on Thursday. All right, so let's get into it here. Look at the S&P E-mini futures product here. We can look at stocks. We can look at whatever it is you guys like. Just let me know. We can look at cryptocurrencies. But most people want to look at the general market and the S&P, so that's what we do. All right, just a quick overview here of what's going on. Well, we had the PCE data this morning. Good number, which is bad for the market right now. We're in that environment, obviously due to the possibility of raising interest rates, and the market has sold off. And we just had some housing data as well, and it looks like the housing data was a little bit better than expected as well. Yeah, right here at 10, guys. When you see this here, you know, when you see something in the order flow, like your right edge here starts to dry up in terms of liquidity. I mean, this just exemplifies how the markets work. You know, what happens during these events? It could be a geopolitical thing. It could be, you know, I don't know, some sort of meeting at the UN, or, you know, whatever it might be. And you'll start to see that the liquidity starts to dry up here. It becomes dark in some of these areas. Something's up. So just note that. You'll be able to read it here in Bookmap. And then the number comes out here at 10. You can see the little bit of volatility in here. Not much, but all it does is trade down to this liquidity that came in a little bit later, and that's been it so far. It's bounced out of that area so far. It did not even come down into the 39.50. Yeah, just wanted to cover that there. So yeah, we're obviously in a downtrend, let's also take a look at the much bigger picture, and then we're going to look at the very specifics here in the order flow. Much bigger picture. Let's start with the daily here on the left, just simple candlestick chart, and what's going on. Then the hourly in the middle, and the 15-minute here on the right. So the daily here, well, we've been waiting and watching for this for quite a while up in here. This week we finally got the break away from this area in here. You probably saw in Scott's video yesterday, or stream, that you know, this is exactly what he's looking for. These, when it is breaking away from these areas and moving, this is when we want to jump on board. Well, it's for those that like the momentum strategies, this is when you jump on board, and you're looking for driving this down to, and I would say from my perspective, looking at just some of the swings in here, this is one of them right here. We talked about this last week, in fact, or I'm sorry, earlier in the week. We were looking for the move to these potential swings down here, 39.63. We just spiked below it here, and we're kind of right at that price level right now. The next swing is down here, okay, somewhere around this 39.10-ish, or 3900, the figure. So if we see more sellers come in, well, maybe then we'll see the momentum continue on down into this area down here. Let's look at the hourly here. And what we're doing here is we're actually using the same process in order flow, that we will in Bookmap here. But we're applying it to the candlesticks, and we're understanding, just speculating more, I guess, on what's inside the candlesticks here. Bookmap will show you precisely what's inside the candlestick, and we're using the same analysis, though, in general, to understand that obviously we're going to see some big volume on these moves. Where is it taking place, though? What does the order book look like? Does it trade areas of high liquidity on the bid, on the offer, etc.? And what we're doing in here is just looking for acceptance and rejection away from or in these areas here. So this is rejection or a move away from this consolidation period up here for several days. And then now we see the move away from it. All right, so let's look at the same thing here on the hourly chart. So we just have a couple of candles here. This is regular trading hours, and kind of interesting move yesterday, all the way back up here, not quite up to the swing. So sellers remain in control in this move here, and even though we got a retracement all the way back up here, so look at the overnight, and the gap down here. So sellers remain in control. 15-minute chart, these are really big swings back and forth here. Move down, move back up, move right back down. But we're into our area here. And this is where we want to keep an eye out. What's going on in the order flow at this area. So good. That's good for us. We can come in here and take a look. And we'll probably see something, hopefully, during this session. Rob the Trader, let's see. Good morning. If the title is right here, actually it's the Trader Map Pro. We can go over it. It's actually not quite right. This was a copy of a previous webinar, I believe. So yeah, so the title is not quite right, but we can make it right if you want. We can look at the Trader Map Pro. The Trader Map Pro has been pretty amazing. I was going to cover some of the 7.4 new features. There's not too much to go over. There's a lot, like, under the hood that we don't know about that's going on, but you might have seen the digest release for 7.4. Okay, so anyway, let's take a look at the order flow here and start to dig into the details. All right. Okay, so yeah, after that housing move, one slight, you'll note this one right away in 7.4, which I'm using. It's beta. Guys, please note that it is beta, and you will if you are trading from it, there may be there will be a higher likelihood for a crash. Just note that. So the look at the crosshairs. Note how it goes across the columns now. Okay, not a big thing, but might find it helpful, especially you profile traders. All right. All right. Well, anyway, we can just go through a quick analysis in here and start to understand that, all right, well, we came down into high liquidity here, and did not make it down into 39.50 here. We've been bouncing around back and forth in here. We had some data in here. Right now, at least volume-wise, we know that the buyers are in control on this small move here so far. Okay, now we're going to look at that same idea and concept here on a smaller time frame. In this little area here, sellers are in control. Okay, here's the swing up here, and we do not see buyers back up above it. All right, so I'm actually looking to see if we get sellers down here and break this level and come back down into 39.50. All right, so let's look at that scenario here and start to understand what's going on here. Let me clear those drawings and we'll just read the order flow here. All right, well, they pulled this liquidity here at 56. Okay, do we see sellers? Not yet, not yet. In fact, these are buyers coming in. Actually, let's look and see if we can get some buyers back up here at 58. And maybe they can push it back up into 62 here. Order book is supporting it a little bit there. Okay, yeah, nothing great right now. Nothing too conclusive here. Not getting too much out of it. Okay, so what do? Nothing. We're looking for something that gives us really good understanding of the participants in here, the players. Okay, well, here come those buyers now. I still don't like it like this. We got a pullback already to where they came in and bought. Here's why. We want to understand the kind of relationship in here, in this little range in here. It's all of a sudden what happened is buyers just came in. And that's it. Okay, so we know it's a stop run here. We could get sellers right below it right here at 57. Okay, and if we do, we can come right back down to 55 and then all the way back down into 39.50. All right, so this is just kind of it's not sloppy, I would say, but it's just out of the blue. This buying came in here. Okay, and then out of the blue, sellers drove it right back down. So we're right back to where we were, right? And that doesn't give us much insight here. Okay, now we get some sellers down here. Did they stay in the book here? No. Okay. All right, let's see it then, sellers. Let's see it. Another move here, selling starting to pick up. Now we're looking to see if they can move it. And they cannot. Pull back. All right, sellers, one more time right now. Let's see it. And then they can pick it up a little bit. We should get the move down into this 53.25. And then maybe some momentum behind that here. Okay, there we go. There's the push. Still looking for them to attack this liquidity here at 39 or 39.53.25. Yeah, they pulled the liquidity on the bid here, so they have not gotten filled. Sellers still remain in control here, so still looking for this to go lower. Any questions here? Okay, there's our 39.53.25, and look at the reaction there. Okay, so we found a few buyers. We got a few different things in here going on, and we still haven't gotten the big stop run yet. So kind of looking for that still. So still looking for this bottom edge in here. Let's see if we can get a few more sellers in here, and then try to get a stop run down into 39.50. All right, but what we do see is a little bit of an iceberg buying and high liquidity here, and it fills, right? So we know that they got filled here. We're looking for a stop run though, and a big one, and then just this to puke into 39.50, just like everyone capitulates here, and then we're looking to see like maybe we can get it on the other side of the trade here. Okay, looking for a long maybe at that point, but yeah, just we got a little bit of a stop run there, not quite enough. Still looking for a bigger one here. And let's see it, sellers. Let's see the push here, and we can get a really nice move into 39.50, maybe 48, maybe even 45 here. Let's see. Now this is longer term liquidity. It's been in here a while. Okay, and we're at lows of the day as well. Okay, but we're looking to see if we can get this volume to pick up, a stop run into it, and momentum back down into this lower liquidity here. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay, well, scenario one, at least, put it that way. Scenario number 2, we got to go over the other scenario, what this might look like if that fails. Okay, so we would look at, we can just kind of draw up some trend lines or channels here. And what would that look like if it fails? Okay, well, we'd still look for this liquidity to transact here, and for them to stay in the order book. So there's our 39.50. Okay, all right, now what this would look like if it fails here is we'd look for coming back up here to about let's see, this kind of 52 area here, and then big green dots up here. Okay, that's what we look for. This would be that would mean that this is all trapped volume here at that point. Right, we know that they're getting filled down here. We see that. We also see icebergs here. We see our stop run. So this is looking good for that scenario here. All right, so what do we do right now? Nothing. Now, this is not a trade recommendation. We're just looking for this scenario to unfold. We're looking for buyers to come in up here around 52, and then for them to break this little level and then trade up into maybe 54, 55 area here. Okay, that's the scenario we're looking for. Okay, or that's scenario number 2. Now, it looks good actually for that to actually play out here, because they got filled here on the bid at 50, and a little bit here in front at 50 and a half. We do have icebergs that are buying in here as well. Okay, it's not a whole lot. We have a little stop run here. That's not the stop run we were looking for, so that doesn't play out too well for us. But nonetheless, we do see some stops triggered here. All right, so now you can see that they tried. We got up here at 52, and here's a bit of buying. Not much though. This is not the size of the dots we're looking for. We're looking for this size here. Right, like these big red dots. We're looking for that up here, but just to be green. Okay, that was pretty quick move. Yeah, we still didn't get what we were looking for. You know, we're looking for those big green dots. We got a stream of green dots, and we're going to get this is going to be a squeeze to the upside here pretty soon. But nonetheless, like any questions on this analysis in here, because what we saw in here was good stuff, just didn't have quite the stop run we were looking for. That the market really just kind of surrendered, and then we're looking for a buyer. So two different things that we didn't have on this move here. One, we had all the other pieces though. One was that we were looking for a bigger stop run, and two, we were looking for the bigger green dots up in here. Okay, we didn't get that. All right, so then you miss this. Right, when you do see that, it's going to be probably a pretty powerful move. Okay, we have all these things aligned in here. Good morning, Alan. I ran out to get some fresh squeezed orange juice. All right. Are you in New York, or are you you're down in Florida, I think, right? All right, guys. So again, now we're looking to see if so we got this a nice little move here to the upside. See how it's bouncing off the top of the range here? Okay, I'm actually looking for sellers to try to take it back into the range, because I don't see a lot of buying in here. So I'm looking for sellers right here, and let's see it, sellers drop it into 51, 50, and then maybe we'll get our big stop run now into all these areas down here, 50, 49, 48. Maybe 46. Okay, another rotation, and let's see it, sellers. They're on the offer here. What's the relationship? to this offer, this liquidity here, this supply, we're starting to see some selling. Okay, everything's looking pretty good if these sellers can hit it here. I'd love to see these guys actually pull at 50. They are not. Okay, but we have the offer here, and you can see there's buying appetite for it. Yeah. Okay, so that gives us some insight. Okay, now we're getting our big green dots here. All right. I like it better. All right, looking for these guys to lift it to the top of the range, and then maybe they can get up to 60 now. Okay, now look at this pattern in here. It's kind of like a double bottom. It's like a triple bottom, or even quadruple. You know, 1, 2, lots of buying here. See this kind of buying? This is what we were looking for over here, and we didn't quite get it. Yeah, these guys stayed in the book and got filled up here. Okay, so that complicates things. These guys are not moving. They're not pulling their liquidity at 50. They want to get filled here at 50, 49, and 48. Still in Florida. Okay. Yeah, you can reach out to Alan. Alan's graciously offered help with Bookmap. And let me see in Discord here. All markets. Yeah, hold on a minute, guys. I can't. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it now. Good morning, Jack. Yeah, all of these orders. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, look at this kind of spoof here. Yeah, I'm still looking for these. There they go. So I'm still looking for these sellers to try to hit into this here. It just seems like, you know, these guys want to get filled here, they just did here at 50. Right? Look at this. Here's how you can verify it. Just look at this right in here. Some of it started to pull. But we can use the data tip tool. 321 here, 229 traded. All right, so you know, most of that traded in here. Okay, so they are getting filled. Right now, here they are again, looking again for selling supply to come in, kick in here, and drive this into the demand down here. Okay, I don't see it yet. In fact, right now, that's our double bottom pattern. So be careful on this unless we get another rotation and see sellers down here. Okay, then it would be higher probability it will continue on. But right now, we're leery about that because here's selling on this one into high liquidity. Here's our retest, no sellers, buyers come in, looking for potential for buyers here right now. And then again, another squeeze to the upside like this up into these areas here, or higher liquidity up here somewhere. 55 looks pretty good, pretty good. If we can get those buyers to come in up there around 52. Yeah, okay, it's only 3 points, but this concept here works on all time frames. All right, let's see it. Buyers looking for a squeeze back up to 55 here. It's not a whole lot of buying, though. I really don't like it. again, when we have that distinction and it looks good, that's when we want to go with it here. Yeah, the one thing is that this is what we also want to understand is the other side of the trade here. Look, I know it sounds kind of complex or double talk. It is not. It's very simple. Did they get filled? Did they get filled? Right? That's it. That's what we want to know. Yeah, some of it got filled, some of it pulled in here, and they're staying in here. This is where they got filled here, right? We know that. Okay, so that's what we want to understand, and then we can start to look for. There's our move to 55 right there. Okay, so this one played out pretty nicely. See how we go through these scenarios, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, well, I didn't think it was that great, our high probability, but it was doing it, and that's what we're looking for. All right, so now we're going to go through the opposite scenario here. All right, so what if we get down below here, 52 on big sell dots in here? Really big sell dots, right around 51.5 or so. This is something I like. Again, not a trade recommendation, but if I do see that, I would get in, or I like to get in and trade it down to the level, take a little bit off, and hold it. Or if I just see this hand over fist selling coming in, I'm not going to take some off, especially if they're going to pull down here. I'm just going to look for it to go all the way through. All right, so another scenario. Now, why do we're going through these scenarios in here so you can start to understand what the order flow might look like, and when it starts to behave like that, we have something that will more likely pan out. Yeah, another one. Jack's all over this. Another one is that action following down after the transactions up here. This right in here. Now, see, this is like a spoof in here. These guys they're layering in here, but they're not getting filled. Okay, now this is it just cracks me up, like how traders get away with this here. Like is it a spoof? Well, if they got filled in here a little bit, it's not really a spoof any longer. I don't know how you're going to prove all this kind of stuff. That's okay. We don't care about that. We just need to understand the behavior. Okay, so here's our scenario, guys. Looking for the sellers on this bottom edge here around 51.75, and then for the sellers to come in and drive it down into these lower levels here. Again, understanding this kind of action in here, that it'll add to it, and it's not. Again, don't try to think of this as some sort of complex math equation. These are just actors or players in the market, and what they're doing is showing heavy supply here, but they don't mean to trade, and that is technically a spoof. Okay, so I mean, they have to have the money to be able to put the orders in like this, right? But they don't have to get filled, so they're not really, I mean, taking the risk. And they were able to, get filled in here, maybe show high supply and get price to come back down at these lower levels here. Here we go again, another rotation. Again, like still looking for these sellers down here, and then the follow through, whipping down to the downside here. We can even look at our measured moves in here. Guys, there's another feature I want to cover here for this new 4.2. Okay, our measured move would be like this. Okay, it would line up perfectly for the move into 48. Okay, sellers, there's some exhaustion there on the buy side, looking for our sellers here again right now, and then to hit the bid hard here. No, nothing yet. Yeah, I agree. The action on the offer, it hasn't really kind of followed down. Well, there's a couple of different things on that, Jack. They don't have to follow down. A lot of times it just isn't necessary to kind of skew the auction. There's just exhaustion. There's just no interest on the offer. When the market sees that and it knows it really, there's no transactions there. It's a dead market, and at those price levels, it will rotate to where it can trade, and that would be in a previous kind of high volume node area here. So here we go. These guys, sellers coming in, hitting the bid hard now. 50 is just transacted. Okay, looking for them to hit it again, and into 49 and 48 here. So someone came in and just hit the bid hard here. So looking for a move here. Buyers failing to bring it up higher so far. Now they're on the offer a little bit. Yeah. That little push though, like you're saying, Jack, like that little push in here can really be helpful. You can see though, like this is really choppy in here, and we're looking for that follow through, and we see even on the offer in here trying to push it, and then and we see a little bit of trading down here. It's looking pretty good, like it's going to do it, and then what happens? We're going to see stop run here on the other side here. So it's enticing us to get in here. Now, how do you handle something like that risk-wise? Well, there's one thing that I was mentioning before. You kind of look in some of these areas in here for exhaustion up here, some selling to come in here, trade it back down into some of these areas here, take some off. I think it was, I can't remember where I was when mentioned that, and then look for the follow through. Move your stop down and get stopped out at break even or overall stop break even. Okay, and that's it. You gave it a shot, it didn't work out. Look for the next one. It is a key gamma level. Okay. Yeah, I just want to show Jack something, because you're bringing it up, and we're right here looking at this kind of stuff. You'll see typically in a trend environment, and it's not a good example here today, but in a trend environment, what you'll see is just high, let's say a downtrend, is high liquidity on the bid, high liquidity on the bid, high liquidity on the bid, and no activity on the offer, right? Let's look at Apple. Maybe it's doing it. Yeah, here's a little bit of a push on the offer here in Apple, but look at this trend to the downside. Yeah, there's a little bit of action on the offer in some of these areas, but a lot of times what you see is very little on the offer. It's really dark on this side, and then you'll just see these areas here. You'll see exhaustion here, not much buying. It's a low volume pullback, but heavy selling into high liquidity, a bounce, heavy selling into high liquidity, a bounce, heavy selling into high liquidity, but it's really dark over here, is typically what you can see. Okay, AMD is doing something like that. We can look at that. AMD is pushing. They're pushing on the other side here. Yeah, I'm looking for them to well, they already traded in the 77.50 here. Yeah, it looks pretty, 77 looks pretty good here. A lot of selling here. Now this is really the key though. We know they're getting filled here multiple times at 77.50. Okay, that's good to know. What about the reaction after it trades into that high liquidity here? Okay, well, I don't see much buying at all. In fact, see the selling coming in here? I'm looking for sellers to drop it right now. There's not much buying interest here. This might be clearer to read that there's selling interest into this buying liquidity here. That's true, and these guys did get filled here, but we don't see much buying over here. In fact, it's lower highs on the way down and lower volume too. Okay, and then there is more selling here again, a little bit lower here. Okay, now it's back and forth in here. So maybe we'll get, let's see here, if AMD is going to break this structure or hold it. I would look for it to hold it and then look for the drop lower here. Yeah, filled here, filled here, filled here, and getting filled here. Now, this is another thing to read in here. They seem to want to get filled here at the 77.50, right? Multiple times in this zone here, right? Now, this is what can happen. If they're still getting filled here and price cannot go lower, right? Now we can go through that opposite scenario on the other side. Here's where we need to see the buyers. If we do see that, especially around this point of control area, then likely, and we do see that buying pick up in here, then we're going to get a move back up to the top of these ranges and then also maybe break it back up into 78. Okay, meaning that these guys are buying and sellers can't get through it. All right, we'll come back and look at AMD in a minute here. New feature in 7.4, since not really seeing too much right now. On the line tool here, go into edit mode. We'll edit the line here and right click on it now and go into edit the styling. You can extend it right, extend it left. Right, so that's a new feature in here. Wanted to cover that. The big new feature in here is the add-on manager in here, plugins manager, which is great. Yeah, you can add and install all your plugins centrally located in here. Oh, that's great. You like that? Extend the line. Yeah. Aloha, Tony. What is there telling you exhaustion? Okay, that's a good question. We'll go over that. It just means a lack of transactions, and exhaustion by definition is all about the aggressor. It's not the order book. Okay, it's not the heat map. It's about the dots. Okay, so for example, look at right up here. It just tested up here, and we don't see any action here. Okay, is it trading down here? Yeah, it is. All right, so I'm looking for these sellers again right here to try to break it. Okay, because they can transact down here. They couldn't seem to transact up here at 52. Okay, so there was no market here up at 52. Now, is there a market here? Yeah. So let's see them now trade into it. And if they can trade into it, likely we can also get price discovery that other traders will likely take it lower than too. Okay, so that is getting into auction market theory and exhaustion here. This is exhaustion up here. Okay, I think that explains it pretty well, Big Eye. It's a small example in here, but that is the it's not a bad example. Okay, now guys, we can talk about risk management on some of these things in here. What you're looking for after this, and you start to see the selling coming in, you're looking for them to take it down into the liquidity, and then to try to then see this profile here, B-shaped profile. I want to see this have a smooth edge at the end here, that it explored and auctioned into these areas here. Okay, right now it's failing right now. Okay, there is no selling down here, very little. We actually see buying here. Okay, and then if we do get that price exploration, then we will get this smooth edge in here. It'll fill in here. Okay, and then what will happen is it will fill in this area in here, and then maybe it exhausts on the sell side. Really choppy action. Well, we did see, I didn't want to mention it at the moment, I wanted to cover exhaustion. Our double bottom, even kind of triple bottom pattern in here, selling, lack of selling in here, buying. Would have loved to have seen a little bit more buying in here, and then I would love to see complete exhaustion here on sell side. We do see some selling. Okay, but see how then it's like, go for a stop run, get up above here, try to trigger stops. Anyone who sold this breakdown in here is getting stopped out on the way up. And this has been very consistently doing this the whole time. We haven't had that puke move that we're looking for. It's been really just touching into this liquidity and looking for it, and then the buyers come in on the other side. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a wicked stuff. I mean, everyone kind of larger players moving it away from these areas in here, and just kind of able to see all these transactions into high liquidity, and then get to the other side in here, and then try to move it away and get people stopped out, and then it ultimately comes right back down again in here. These are not reversal moves. Let's look at AMD here. Yeah, AMD doing the same thing. It traded down to 40, and that was it. Tons of liquidity down at 77. let's see here. Well, let's take a look at our candlestick chart too. I mean, look, this is just like we were saying, we're looking for the break, we're looking for the break, we're looking for the break, and then almost, I mean, look at how consistently the buyers come in on the other side and move it to the other side of the range. Clinton, can I define iceberg? Yeah, so we've got a lot of materials on icebergs. You might want to reach out to support on that, but an iceberg is an order type that's used by a larger player that wants to hide their liquidity from the order book. So look right here at 48. Okay, we see that there's 397 contracts down here, the most in the viewable book here by far. Okay, so they're down here at 48. A lot of traders are down there at 48, and now everyone kind of knows that there's buyers down there, and it can kind of scare price away from those areas, because now you're kind of showing your hand, and you're saying like, I'll be a buyer down here if you want to trade into me. So a lot of times larger players will use an iceberg order, and all they have to show is, they don't have to show their entire order down here. They can only show a portion of it, the tip of the iceberg. Let's say it's 100 lot. Well, they only show 10 in the order book. Now once that 10 transacts in the order book, the next part of the iceberg is then sent to the order book, okay, to the exchange. So another 10 is there now. And then what happens is, very quickly what will happen is those icebergs, well, the entire order will trade. Let me, God, I mean, why even explain it here? Let me just show it. This is one of the things Bookmap is just so good at, is just visualizing these concepts. Okay. Yeah, so here's an iceberg here. See the big one down here, or big ones down here. So here's what happened. Okay, we know the whole evolution of the iceberg. Okay, so look at this selling in here. This is not a bad example. This is when it was first detected right here. D means D1. D means detected. 1 is the amount that transacted. Only one contract of the iceberg transacted. And then T means trade or transaction, and then we see that 13 traded here. Okay, now there's many in here. It's not just if we zoom in here, we'll see all of them. Okay, so I have it filtered a little bit here, so there's a distinction between these, maybe what you see here and then what you see in the subchart. Okay, so anyway, then. So look at the selling in here. Now, why isn't the selling able to move price lower? It doesn't look like there's anyone in the order book here. There's 49 contracts down here at 53. Okay, well, and we can see that out of all these right here, 36 have transacted, viewable here. Why can't they trade through the 8 contracts here on the bid? They can't do it. Well, that's because we have an iceberg here absorbing that selling pressure. Okay, so and then they're still here. They're still absorbing. And then what happened here ultimately is that we see actually the iceberg, the C means here, it means it canceled. We don't know what the entire iceberg was, because they canceled after 33 transactions, or a volume of 33 that traded. Then we know that they pulled it, they canceled it basically. Okay. And then maybe it's the same guy, who knows, but they came in again. Okay? And then we see them coming up in here too, another iceberg. That stays in there for a while. Now look at this one here. See, it says E. That means executed. This was fully executed. This iceberg was fully executed for 230 contracts. We know the whole evolution of it. We can see that it was even moved up. Look at how it was moved here. See the blue line? It goes from here up to the next tick. And then from here on to the next tick. Okay. And then finally filled here. Okay, does that answer your question about icebergs? Look at this. It's still all the way back up here. Okay, so let's just look at this. When we saw it in here, still looking for sellers to hit into this 48 again. It's just been this action in here. Got quite a bit on the chart now, so we can take that off, and let's clear our drawings. Okay, so selling into that liquidity, bounce, selling into that liquidity, bounce, selling into the liquidity, bounce, selling into liquidity, bounce, selling into the liquidity again, and let's see if we get a bounce here. Okay, so 50 transacted yet again. Now 49 is transacting. Okay, maybe we get just a little bit further into 48, and then let's see if we get a bounce. Okay, so here they come already, looking to take it higher, maybe up to 51. Same activity here. See this block of orders in here is very similar to this over here, right? So we're noticing that behavior. Okay, now did they get filled? No. Did they get filled this time? No. This is a spoof again. Okay, so now we're up at 51, and let's see if we can get a better squeeze out of it here. Maybe we can come up to 60. All right, so let's see it. If we've been seeing that behavior again and again. Let's see if it starts to look like that, then we would look for the move. All right, let me get back here. So no, okay, you guys don't want to look at any other markets. Just S&P is fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing, any of these moves unfolding yet, and nothing high probability in here at all. One of the things that we noted down here, that there's actually two pieces to this in the auction. One is you need to have sellers. Okay, we need to also see the on the bid here, we want to see them filled. Okay, those two pieces are really key for the setup, for the move, for the squeeze, or the move up to the upside here. Okay, so do we have that here? No, not really. They got filled a little bit here at 48 and a half, but that's it. Okay, so do we see a lot of selling down here? No. That's what we want to see if we're going to get, we see some here actually, but if we're going to get that kind of squeeze or sharp move to the upside here. Okay, I see buying in here. Okay, more buying than in some of these. And that's pretty similar. Well, what I'm trying to look for is, like, if we don't see the selling and we see buying, they will be compelled to trade and be sellers down in these areas here. Okay, so now we're getting it right. Now we traded into 48. We do see the selling. We know that these guys got traded. We do see it's a stop run here too. Okay, not bad, about 300 or so. Okay, so now we do have that piece here. Now the other piece, do we see the buyers here? Yeah. All right, so let's see them lift it to the top of the range. Okay, and then if they can do that and still buy, we'd be looking for maybe up here 55, 56 liquidity up here, potentially 60. Okay, understood. Okay, the setup is here, and then the move is from here, well, to here first, which you can look at areas like this to get in, and then you could have a stop down pretty tight, take some off here, but look for the bigger runner on up into maybe here or maybe here. Okay, understood. So now this is a potential setup. This is something to look at. This is something to study. Okay, now again, it's an order flow event here in the end, and we're looking for this in the order flow. Now, how often does this unfold? Okay, how often do we get the big green dots where we want them to give you insight for this move to unfold? You can start to build a trading plan around something like this. Go back and study it. This is a good day to study it. It happened 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times now. So it happened 4 times. We're watching and seeing if the 5th one is going to work out. So you have 5 examples already. Okay, start to understand the auction here. And then look for the scenarios to unfold. And then you can start to develop your trading plan around it. Okay, now risk management wise, this is essential. You might have something that works out pretty well for you in terms of your trading plan now, but you have to understand where are you going to get in and how you're going to control the risk. That's the second part. After you understand that you have some sort of edge here, you have to understand you have an edge. All right, Jack, we can take a look at maybe Tesla. That sounds good. Yeah, Big Eye, no, this is about Bookmap in here, nothing else. It's about order flow first and foremost, and then what kind of insights do we get using Bookmap, because that's the edge. Okay, and if you want to look at volume profile stuff, that's been around for decades. There's all sorts of products out there. Okay, we also have volume columns here in Bookmap that you can look at as well. I mean, what I'm going over here is so different than anything else you're going to see out there. And look, like you're really going to understand, and I would really highly recommend, this is what you do, is go to our YouTube channel here, okay, and then scroll down and then watch down here, bonus materials, part 1 of our educational course. Click here, view the full playlist. At least watch part 1. I would suggest all 4, but parts 1 and 2, especially part 1, you're going to understand this. You're going to understand really what's behind these things. I see your comments about value area high, value area low, VPOC, midpoint, etc. It doesn't matter. What matters is the order flow around those areas. That's what's going to give you an edge. Yeah. So for example, let's take a look at a candlestick pattern in here. Okay. Here's your candlestick pattern. All right. So, it's really back and forth in here. We have wicks on both sides in here. This is a 5-minute candlestick chart. Okay. So, but this down here is the bottom edge. Look at the wicks. Here's a break of it. A lot of people probably sold and sold this here. We know some got stopped out. Now that's a detail here. We know they got stopped out. Your volume profile is just going to show you this big blob here, and that's it. It's going to aggregate all of this data here across at each price level and accumulate it and aggregate it into your column here. Okay, it's not showing you what's happening here. It's not showing you that this is a stop run. It's not showing you that there's high liquidity on the bid that filled here. Okay, and we saw this behavior 5 times now. Okay, and then basically you're looking for making a trading plan based off of value area high, value area low, or off of a wick in here. That just doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, there's just so much else going on in here. If you can start to understand and comprehend some of these other things and apply that to your candlestick chart, that's great. Or your value area high, value area low, that's great. But understand the behavior of the participants in this auction is going to give you that edge. It's going to make that your strategy much higher probability, okay, by understanding the auction. Okay, now we even said, like, and I just want to get this point across, because like I think a lot of traders, when we first start trading, we just want to look at something and go, well, what's the setup? Did it go above this line? I'm in, and I want to buy, and that's it. And it either works or it doesn't. And it's just, we want some sort of clarity and crystal clarity like that. And the markets just don't work like that. They just don't. It is way more complex. There's so much more going on in here. So for example, your candlestick pattern in here, maybe your buy would be, your buy would probably be once it breaks up above here, right? And then it closes above here, above this kind of 53 candle here, right? Well, we would have been in here at 51, or I'm sorry, below 49.5, and we'd still be in this, okay, because we understood what happened here, right? Instead of like your signal being here in your candle up at 52 3/4. Okay, now it hasn't even given the signal yet. It has to close up there. Okay, it went above it, but it didn't close up there, right? So like here is what you're looking at. I'm sorry, one more. And you're not understand. The concept is here in the candles. It really is. The concept is very simple. This is, rejection and trap volume down here, and you're looking for it to unwind here to the upside, to the top of the edge here. Okay, that's the understanding behind the candlestick pattern. So it's an order flow event. Even the candlestick pattern here is an order flow event. Your value area high, value area low, or midpoint, these are order flow events as well. Your VPOC. Okay, what does it mean here? Like if I can get volume transacting above this 52 here, see this high volume node in here? If I can see big green dots pulling it away from that area, the likelihood for it to trade up to your low volume node is higher, much higher. Okay, that's what we're talking about in here. Okay, just because it's above it or you trade to it, like is kind of meaningless. It's what's behind it. It's understanding kind of what's inside of it is where you're gonna get an understanding or an edge. Okay, now you still wouldn't even be in this yet with the candlestick pattern. You're waiting for your close above this swing here, basically. Okay, now you just missed it. You missed the whole thing. Okay, so we saw it down here. And then we said maybe get out some here and then hold for either here or here. And why do we say here? Hold for here. Because that's where the liquidity is. And that's where this will give you that additional insight. So here is the heat map. This is where they are. This is where the sellers are. There's no question about it. This is where the sellers are. They're here. Okay. And why we wanted to get out down here and reduce some risk, oops, sorry, is because there was some liquidity in here. We know they traded, okay, and then trade back up in here, get out a little bit. We don't know if up here all of a sudden sellers come in and whip it down in here. It's up to you. You don't have to do that if you don't like it. If you don't like to, that's great. Like I like to reduce the risk, and maybe that's a bad strategy. I mean, like here, this is working out great to just hold it. Okay, but this is where you're looking for it to go here. And we said this area here because of the liquidity as well. See the liquidity level right here? Now, the market kind of changed a bit, right? Here, on the fly, they kind of pulled a lot of that liquidity as price came up here. Well, that's even better for us. Okay, if they're going to pull it, that means that the buyers aren't going to meet the sellers. Okay, they're going to meet them at a higher level. So we want to understand that. Now they did meet them. No, they didn't meet them here. So we're still holding. Still looking for this. It's here at 60. Okay. Now this is exactly why we hold these webinars. So that the education is put to the test. And here it is. All right. So yeah, I hope you find it helpful. And again, I don't really care like what strategy you may use. You can look at your volume profiles, your value area high, value area low. That's great. That's really good. Understand the concepts behind it though, and then understand the behavior of the auction behind it. That's where you're going to get an edge. So do your studies. Look at your candlesticks. Look at your volume profile, whatever it is. But then behind it, when you start to understand the auction here, you're going to say, well, that's likely going to fail. I'm not going to get in that. And you've just filtered out a loss potentially. Okay, higher probability that you just filtered out a loss. Yeah, exactly, JTT. So yeah, traders, Tom B in the Traders Lab, he's next. And he's going to go over volume profile and the way that he trades. So, very similar. All traders are actually kind of looking at the same things. I find that they want to understand. They might call it something different, or but they're all looking at kind of the same levels, and then they're looking for an edge. Their edge might be in a candlestick visualization. It might be in a volume profile visualization. Tom looks at volume profiles. Okay, he would look for a mean reversion trade down here. His mean reversion might be here. It might be here, right? Or let's look. There's a profile Yeah, so, or maybe he traded the other side of the edge up here at 60. Okay, and that's a low volume node. Because look, there's 3 or 4 different kind of high volume nodes in here, right? And we don't know. We don't know if it even will go into 60 and through it. But we're looking for it to be attracted to 60. Okay, look, it actually traded up there. 28 contracts already traded here at 60. Okay, not much, but it traded. Now, did it get through? No. Did they get filled here? Yeah, some. Right, so we're already seeing some buyers meeting sellers already. They're front running a little bit here. That's another detail to start to understand. Okay, so look at this. Buyers here, lack of buying in here. Okay, so maybe we won't get to 60. Okay, now we're finding our buyers, and now they're trading right into it. What I was going to go through was another scenario here. Okay, that if they can't trade up here, then what we can look for up here is maybe we see some selling here. What if we had more down here? Okay, and we still may come down here, and if we do see it here, I'm looking for the sellers to drive it into this liquidity down here. Okay, so something like that. How do we add CVP? Very, very simple. So just open up a column. You can right click in a column and insert or hide columns in here. Let me show you, actually. I think you'll find this helpful. So I showed you the educational course. Please watch part 1 and at least part 1. Then go back to bonus materials here and then features and components. View the full playlist. Click on that. And then you can scroll down here and you'll find the columns, all sorts of columns videos here. Okay, that'll answer your questions. Go through the columns overview, which these have been moved around recently. I can never find them now. I don't. There is one called columns overview, I believe, or maybe it's on the current order book. Anyway, watch one of those, then what all you do is just right click in here, insert a new column, and then right click and go to volume column. Okay, click on that. Let's say I'm in quotes counter here, or quotes delta, let's say, very different column. Just right click in here, go to volume, and then right click again, and you'll see now I have different options in here for chart range accumulated or session accumulated. If you want chart range, it'll be CVP. If you want session, it'll be SVP. Okay, like this one. All right, that's it. Now you can also configure that column. Right click again in that column and you can show all sorts of things. Show your POC, your VWAP line, at least in the column. You can look at delta, buy minus sell if you want. You can also split out the data here, which is a nice thing. Look at the aggressors, buyers, and sellers. So a lot of different ways of looking at it in here. Just go through some of those videos and that should answer a lot of your questions there. All right, guys. Well, anyway, see how we got some insight here. Now, we were actually looking for the transaction not to kind of happen up here and sellers to come in and then potentially move it lower. In fact, what we got in this scenario was the transaction did happen here at 60, and then we see sellers coming in. We'd look for them to drive it into, I would look for them to drive it to this liquidity here, 56. They did not. Okay, but they certainly hit 57 and 58. Now this might be turning into a bigger picture move here. Okay, so more buyers back up here, and maybe they can come up to this swing up here, right where we found sellers previously. See how we know we found sellers up there. Not only the wicks are telling us that, The dots are telling us that they're sellers. Look at them drive it away. That's why we want to understand where they drove it away from. Again, your candlestick will not show that. Your volume profile will not show that. Your market profile will show that if you want to track the letters in there. That'll show it. But volume profile will not. Anyway, this is where those sellers, maybe up here, I guess. But like I really see them actually pick it up in here, right here, 61. Okay, so and then that's look how we noted that here. Look at this pullback came to. Again, this is not coincidence. This is where the sellers came in. This is where the buyers took it right back up. All right, let's get a candlestick chart off. But I did want to go over it and show it to you. Okay, and there's a potential little strategy for you guys to look for what it looks like in the bottom edge in here, even in a pretty big downtrending day. Right, we saw this behavior so many times, and then we saw it one more time, and we noted it actually and made a distinction. It was not happening here, but it did happen here, and we got it. Stop run into high liquidity, getting filled here, looking for buyers coming in on the other side. We start to see them right here. Now we have a risk management as well wrapped in with the strategy. You can take some off here, or you can take some off maybe up here at this one, or maybe POC. There's your mean reversion. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Pete. PD money. How are you tracking? Yeah, yeah. Guys, it's not just we have Tom. He's excellent. It's volume profile. Right after that, another just excellent room. I mean, this is really high quality stuff. It's options with Doug. You might want to check that one out. That's at 1:30 p.m. Let's go through the lineup today. I mean, I want to show that because like it's pretty amazing. I love that we can offer this all to you guys. I'm really happy to offer this to all of you. That here's what we have. We have Tom here in another 10 minutes or so. Right after that, options with Doug right here at 1:30 p.m. We also have scheduled for 1:30. It should be 1. Okay. Yeah, we have Frank from Spanglish Trades. Now, this is in Spanish. So for you guys, Spanish-speaking audience, you want to come here and watch Spanglish Trades. Frank looks at stocks and futures. Okay. Some great stuff there. And then right after all of that, there's one more at the close from 2:30 to the close. You'll need to come to our Discord room for that. And that is here under, here we are in all markets, right? But we want to go under, here's Tom's Trader Lab, okay? Algo Boys. Here's options with Doug. He'll be after Tom, and then Algo Boys here, okay? Yeah, please come check it out. He's an expert trader. It's really good stuff. All day long. Yeah, come check it out. That one, like I said, is only offered in Discord right now, and that might change soon. David, yeah, it's not. They're not on YouTube. Algo Boys, you have to come to Discord. Who would I say the iceberg players are? They're, Matthew, it's all sorts of players that have a lot of money, typically. Hanker trading. Oh, great. I'm glad you enjoyed it and learning a lot in here. Yeah, Roomba. That's right. Yeah, they're only in Discord. Guys, I mean, such and try not to make this complex. Like, and one of the things that can really help to simplify it is to understand this as an auction. Instead of having all these different kind of parameters in your head of like, did it do this, did it do that, etc. Just understand what happened at the areas. Did they get filled? Did the buyers here get filled? How many of them? What is the context? See, look at this here. These guys want to get filled here, it looks like. This doesn't look like a spoof. They're bidding up between 56 and 57, layering in here. Okay, now we don't know yet if it's a spoof or not because they haven't gotten filled. So we don't know that. But what we do know is look at the reaction to this liquidity here in this area here, right? Looking for them to come back up to 60 and potentially break through 60 because they're pulling that liquidity here at 60 and a half. See how they pulled it away right here. So maybe we can get up higher, up into 62, 65, something like that, right? Look at see how they're following up underneath here on the bid. What's the reaction by the aggressors? Well, more buyers, right? And they're pulling here on the offer. There's our relationship. There's our context. Now, you don't have to look at this and like, are they doing this? Are they doing that? Like, understand just what's going on in here in the auction. If there's no supply up here and you get this demand in here while these buyers moving the market, they're going to move it higher. It's just the way things are. Like, more buyers than sellers, they're going to move it higher here. And now what I mean by more buyers, more aggressive buyers than sell liquidity is what I mean. Okay, there is an equal transaction here. I always have to be kind of a little more on point with that. There's a buyer for every seller. Okay, but what's happening in here in the market in general is very simple, very, very simple. There's here, let's just go through here. There are buyers in here on the bid down here. There are sellers here on the offer up here. Now the aggressor is the market buy and sell order that takes liquidity here. So for example, let's just find a good example. If they take all of this 45 here on the bid or offer here, if they trade into it and through it, if we look for 45 to transact, and if there's 46 that transact, now it's going to come up and trade here. And the 94 that contracts that are up here are going to be 93 now. Understood? So, and that's what makes the market move, these aggressors. So it's still matching a buyer for a seller. But if they take all the liquidity, the next seller is up here. And that's where they're going to match. And therefore, your price has moved. Okay? Really simple stuff. And you're not going to, it's not... I don't find a lot of books out there that will cover things like that. They'll cover like to the end. They'll cover like their candlestick pattern and the breaking of the neckline and all this kind of stuff. But to understand what makes the price move and understand these very, very simple market mechanical details here is really important. Okay, so yeah, we talked about this. The next level here, 65, right? The swing up in here, looking pretty good, looking pretty good. They're on the bid. We're finding buyers. Okay, so we saw this whole reversal. We didn't know it was going to be a reversal. We mentioned it that it could be the reversal for the day. But all we were looking for is for this to play out to our specific levels. The first one would have been the top of this little range. The second one was this little area here where it dropped, or I'm sorry, where it dropped from up in here, and this liquidity here. And the third was 60. Okay, and then up in here, well, if they're going to pull that liquidity, you might as well pull your liquidity too, right? And look for where they're going to get filled on the offer as well, and you can front run them like this guy did here. All right, so anyway, and again, like, you guys want to look at your volume profile, Tom B he'll be up next. Guys, if you like this, please hit the like button. Really helps us here. So any kind of support we can get helps us take this further. Doesn't cost you anything just to hit the like button, and we can cover more and more of these kinds of details in here. You're welcome, Big Eye. Yeah, come to these webinars and ask questions. Exactly what you're doing. Go watch the course, and then now what can be where you really need to where the rubber is really going to meet the road is when you do your studying. And like, we'll go through many different things in here, like we did volume profile, candles, whatever it might be, or patterns, and but when we start to look at some of these things in here and we notice it, like it did it 5 times in here, and then this one turned into a bigger trade, reversal trade. Now you've got 5 examples in here. Now go look for others, right? How often does that work out? What was the condition? What would you look for in the auction? And we can go through it in here very quickly. We were looking for, first, them to get filled on the bid. Okay. Also, we wanted to look for a stop run potentially through it, which is always kind of nice. Then we wanted to see our green dots on the other side here. Okay, and we wanted to see that bigger green dots. This one was kind of, we kind of saw this one, kind of didn't. I mean, we saw the double bottom pattern here, and then not too many sellers here. This is where, to me, it starts to look good, and I don't like it up here because they're getting filled here, right? So this one I probably would have passed on, but like, because I don't know what's happen if they get filled in here, right? I know that the sellers are getting filled here on the offer. Okay, so that kind of nullifies it, even though it turned into a nice move. This one here looked pretty good. We didn't have that. Okay, and we know that they got filled. We see the selling into here, and then we saw the buyer starting to come in right around in here, and then we look for these moves to unfold. Okay, and risk management. Risk management is really where you're going to make the money. Okay, it's not just the setup; it's the risk management. If this doesn't do what it's supposed to do, what do? Get out. If it starts to come down, you see sellers back down in here, like, well, you can honor your stop, or that's probably the thing to do, is just honor your stop. But if you don't see a lot of buyers in here, you start to see sellers in here, you can get out. You could even get back in if you do see the buyers back up here. I mean, it's up to you, but like it's something you got to look into. You got to know you have an edge, and then you want to optimize that edge. All right, guys, I'm sorry, over in Discord, let me jump over here. Lots of stuff going on, and thanks, Kamal or Trace Face. How often do we stream? Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Fridays. And Sing Trading crude is showing much more potential buy than the ES. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. I didn't go over any cool features today. We went through the basics today. A little bit of 7.4, but we just saw this pattern emerging here multiple times, and we thought we'd cover that instead. C-Bell, let's see here. Can we cover stops, icebergs? We went over that a bit. I hope that helped. Stops, who's using stops? Typically not larger players. Larger players are using icebergs because they have high liquidity they don't want to show in the order book. Smaller players are using stops because we don't have a deep pocket. Larger player will get filled in here, all the way down. They'll put their orders in here. You want to see a larger player? Here they are here. They place their orders at 9:30 a.m. On the in the market, and they stay there. Okay, larger player here. One started to come in here, added a little bit more. Larger player here, still here, still here, still here. Okay. So what about on the offer? They're way up here at 49. Okay. So anyway, we can't have it go against us and be able to withstand that. It would empty our account. So what do? We get stopped out, and that will be a stop run. Okay. So where are people getting stopped out? Well, here it is right here. We see it. So if you want that, this stops and icebergs. This only works for CME Group futures. This is sold separately on the Bookmap marketplace, and you need to have rhythmic data. It's very specific. It's got to be rhythmic data, and you got to trade the CME Group futures. Okay, so sorry, Sing Trading, to miss the crude oil. I don't even have crude oil up here right now, but I trust it was moving well. And that's another thing, Sing, is to look at correlated markets now with this Market Pulse product. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm already encroaching into Tom's time. I got to go. And hit the like button, please. We'll see you on Monday. Yeah, come prepared to ask questions like you did, Big Eye, and we're happy to go through these details for you guys. Okay, have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday.